Welcome back. Once again, adventurers. Let's play Robotics nonchalant. In the last episode, at her abode at the abandoned hotel, Frau was busy scouring the depths of Twickle. For any glimmer of truth amidst the flotsam and jetsam of the internet. Specifically concerning details regarding the solar storm that hit Tokyo, where members of our own community forum, the Frau factory, were based. The same people that were also involved in scoping out cheaters on Kill Ballad not too long ago. But though Frau managed to get in touch with one of them, a user who calls herself Hatano, or Hatano, sorry, I should say. Her world was about to come crashing down once again, because in the midst of the chaos, Frau herself was being blamed for the events that ensued. Because someone, person or persons unknown, has managed to hack the robotics industry's network and taken control of a large variety of robots. Not necessarily in a full-on robot insurrection for the glory of robot civilization, but more in the line of just wreaking havoc and spreading mayhem and chaos. But the fact that Frau's account was hacked and that she herself is being pinned as the culprit behind it all means that someone is after her, and indeed someone is out to frame Frau. Not necessarily a singular person, but rather an organization that's only far too familiar. Because the plans of the Committee of 300 are being set into motion, as per Ko Kimijima's reports, and Frau knows this. And so, of course, does Kaito, which is why he's been waiting here for quite some time now. And also on a side tangent, by sheer coincidence, I finally recalled the film directed by Christopher Nolan that I was mentioning in the last episode, Memento. It's a great psychological thriller, but I also hate it for reasons that I shall keep to myself, unless you've seen the film. But anyway, with all that said and done, we should probably hopefully get out of the way. But first, before we do that, know the drill by now. Tokyo looks like it's in big trouble. Indeed it is, actually. And that's actually quite the understatement. Another notification from Sister Centipede. What do you think about being called Big Brother by me? Shall I change it to something like Big Bro or Broski or Bro? Or rather, I can copy myself 12 times and each one can call you something different, standing by. The Japanese dialect and the anime Japanese dialect especially, I believe the term is Oni-chan. Whereas One-chan is, of course, for sister, not brother. But Big Brother has very much George Orwell 1984 vibes, but that depends. That depends. I think we'll go with this one. Big Brother's fine. Yeah. only stands to reason that Kaito will be receiving these falsified tweets via Frau's account. But it's not true. None of it is true. Especially this one. Because even though he doesn't really like interacting with Frau that much, Kaito knows her well enough to know that she wouldn't do any of this. It's not her, Akio. It's not her. What's going on, Juna? I think we're in it deep. I think the walls are closing in, and the net is tightening around us. Oh, it's no joke, Subaru. It's no joke. Far from it, in fact. My friends in Tokyo are okay. Might be in a pretty bad situation. That's the first considerate thing that you've said, and first sensible thing that you've said ever, Michi. And another notification from Sunio. Wow, that's some impact. I don't mind sending space candy for support, but is Tanigashima even going to be okay to begin with? The island's fine, by the way. Please retweet. The programmer for the world-famous fighting game Kill Ballads announces terrorist attack. Someone stop her, please. If not, Tokyo will be more of a disaster. Call yourself a journalist. You're falling for it too easily, Kuroko. Yeah. Too quick to point the finger. You know what, I don't think I have the energy to read these out, actually, knowing how bullshit they are. Who says wowzers in here, besides Inspector Gadget? It wasn't her who said that. Not her. And of course, people are still in the dark as to the existence of the Committee of 300, much less their activities. Yeah, rest Frau Zero. Give the Committee of 300 exactly what they need to take over humanity, you people. So mad right now. And of course, Tokyo is already under blackout anyway, so phoning people is not an option anyway. fact remains is that with Frau pinned as the culprit, the Committee of 300 had free march or free reign. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before they traced out to Tanegashima. These people are all begging us complain. Yeah, there are quite a lot of robots. Too many, in fact. Oh, I clicked on this just on a whim, and for the first time ever we have something in this D. Lo and behold, it's lightning fast night hard. Phew, I thought it was getting rowdy outside, but didn't know this was going on. Robots going haywire. I'll just come out and say it. Epic delusions, bro, lol, hee hee hee, lol. You of all people should know the difference between delusions and reality, Nightheart. Oh wait. Yeah, I just remembered who I'm talking about. Never mind. Go outside and face reality, why would I do that? You, brain damage, but you know it's dangerous inside. I'll just stay inside and play a Rojo all day instead. God damn it. I forgot what kind of person you are momentarily. I've rectified that. Seriously, robots going haywire was a delusion becoming reality. Whose delusion is this? Now I want you to listen closely and to remain calm. There are people gifted with gigglomania. They can make delusions into reality. I used to be a gigglomaniac too. Hate to break it to you, Nightheart, but the Committee of 300 are not interested in gigglomania right now. I've dabbled with it in the past, but now they're more focused on Project Attune and other things. Yeah. The Committee of 300 are more than capable of manifesting or real-booting delusions into reality. They've gotten far more sophisticated in the last 10 years. I'm sure the real culprit who made the robots go nut is coming for me. Why do they always come for me? Yes, I do. I get that my extravagant delusions have the power to change the world and all, but at the end of the day, I'm just the need in my late 20s. This sucks. Your part in the story is, come to an end, for better or worse. Hey, who's the bastard who added me saying epic delusions, bro? Damn it, all of you should just die. I'm telling the truth. The Shibuya destruction that happened 10 years ago was because of this stuff. Believe me, you imbeciles. Who do you think saved the world? It was me, goddammit. You may have saved the world back in 2009, Nightheart, but the world needs saving again. Mercury 300. Oh ye, more... Oh, I think he's meant to say yes there, that was a typo. More importantly, I finished watching Magical Girl Aram Home Run Striker. I didn't think Bloodshine would last this long, but Aaron is a timeless novel. 2D is the best. Wouldn't surprise me if Nightheart and Frau were corresponding on the internet, and also Nightheart using Sarah Orgel as his avatar, because of course he would. Same old Nightheart, hasn't changed in 10 years. Where were we? Ah yes, weather, rain, Frau. Need to get inside. Last night's rain showers continued through today, which means I couldn't commute by scooter. It took me about 10 minutes to get here from school. The entrance of the abandoned hotel. Nearby is the intercom that Frau had installed into the building. I think Frau's situation is much worse than you realize, Kaito. Both physically and psychologically. If she doesn't answer after 3 rings, she's either sleeping or she's gone out. In this weather... By out I mean that she's probably taken a trip to the Euro General store to grab something to eat. Again, too far from the likes of Frau. But she definitely wouldn't want to leave on a rainy day like this. I shut in like Frau should hate the rain and the outside. I suppose I should ring Mizuko-san up just in case. Good thing this entryway has, this entranceway has shelter. Oh, good. It's, we didn't get voicemail. I was worried for a second. Unfortunately. Energy level drops dramatically. Every time I ever hear Mizuko-san act all polite, I can't help but want to interject with, who the hell are you? And what have you done with Mizuko-san, I might add.
今日水田さんのお店にコナちゃんって来た？
コナちゃん？誰さ？
Of course, Mizuko will know her real name.
幸次郎フラウ。旧空港前の廃棄ホテルに住んでる子。
ああ、あの子か。今日見てないね。
Well, that settles it then.
わかった。ありがとう。
In other words, well, obviously she's never left the building. Recently. I hang up the phone. I try pressing the intercom button again. Second ring. But there's still no response. I'd say there's a pretty strong chance that she's just pretending to be out. However, I'm uneasy about everything that happened yesterday and today. And with good reason. The Tokyo blackouts and Frau's terrorism decoration are the hot topics like the movement on the net. Early this morning, Frau suddenly declared that she had taken over RI Company's service robots. She then started saying crazy things to troll people, so everyone on the net is lashing out at her. All lies, of course. That's why I left school during my lunch break and came here.
おいおい、まさか姿くらましちゃったかな。
In a manner of speaking. Considering everything she revealed on Twitter, it would make sense for her to run. Where would she go? Which means it doesn't matter how many times I push this button. But on the other hand, I have a bad feeling that she might have been foiled. Your intuition serves you well, Kaito Yashiro. Frau is the only person I've told so far about the contents of the Kimijima reports. And then there's Frau's mother, Minami Kugori, who was likely erased for opposing the Tavistock Institute. Frau came to this island to search for her mother. It wouldn't be strange if the Tavistock Institute or the Committee of 300 abducted or threatened her into cooperating by using her mother. Yeah. Nothing's, outside of the realm when it comes to the Committee of 300.
陰謀論的な考え方も自然とスラスラ出てくるようになっちゃったね。
And they actually start coming true when they're no longer conspiracy theories. I scoffed myself and called the number of the security company on the intercom sticker. My cousin won't answer no matter how much I call, so I'm breaking in. Please send security over ASAP. That's basically what I told them. But all the girl at the call center did was try to stop me. After hanging up, I find a fist-sized rock from among the reeds. I know what you're thinking, Kaito. Then again, it might be the only option. I take aim at the glass door and throw it as hard as I can. I crouch down low but move quickly and climb the stairs to the third floor, stopping to catch my breath. Well, score 1 point for breaking and entering on Kaito's record, which basically means that, Frau, I think your security measures are considerably lacking. A better Kaito than anyone else. I look down the hallway. There's no sign of anyone here.
ちょっとやりすぎちゃったよな。
Considering what the Committee of 300 are capable of, Kaito, smashing a window or glass door with a rock should be the least of your worries. If Frau asks me for reimbursement later, I'll just play dumb. Yeah, blame the pigeons. The pigeons did it. Shouldn't really blame the pigeons. I seriously didn't think it would break like that. Yeah, you'd be surprised at how sugar glass those doors are. I'm feeling super nervous. Not about having to pay, really, but about making a noise that loud. What if someone has Frau confined in her room? It's possible that the culprit could do something bad in response to the noise, like killing Frau or ambushing me. Actually, that would be too easy for the committee. Fortunately, nobody knows that Frau is staying here, but with the panic going on outside, It's only a matter of time before people start flocking to Tanegashima to try and find Frau Kajiro. No, I'm sure it'll be fine. I force myself to think positively. Can't afford to do anything else right now. Anyway, I head to Frau's room. I check for sounds inside the room through the door, but I don't hear any talking. I gently turn the doorknob.
No.
It's unlocked. Once again, Frau, your security measures leave much to be desired. Unexpectedly, it's unlocked. Whenever I visit, Frau always keeps her room locked. She only opens it when I knock from outside. But if it's unlocked, does that mean no one's inside? Or... I imagine a gruesome scene awaiting me inside the room and hesitate to open the door. Well, considering what Frau's gone through, gruesome is probably putting it mildly. But I can't turn back now. Indeed. I need to check inside.
このご判断はこうって
Thunderbirds I go indeed. I brace myself and slowly open the door.
Samu.
Yep, still cold. Still
誰も
freezing.
いない
I don't see anyone. The AC is on, so it's as freezing cold as always. The PC is still on too. Actually, even her Pokecom is just sitting there. The room is filled with the smell of mold and must. This might actually be worse than usual, likely due in part to the vomit on the floor. It's so dry that it almost looks like a stain. Frau clearly hasn't been eating much. There are no solids. I prefer not to look at it straight on. Well then, take your own advice and don't. I take a look around the room and sigh. Frau's nowhere to be found. At least she's not lying on the floor. I figured she might be sleeping, but I was wrong. Did I miss her on the way over and she's at Mizuki-san's place now? Or could she have been kidnapped? A sound. I hear a sound. It's mixed in with the low humming of the PC. It's the sound of water. I immediately turn to the entrance. That's where the bathroom door is. It's currently shut. Upon closer inspection, light is visibly leaking from the opening at the bottom. Someone's inside. The sound of water in a bathtub in a place like this, in a situation like this, never bodes well. I was so nervous when I came in that I didn't even notice. There's definitely a sound coming from inside the bathroom. It's the sound of water flowing from a faucet.
まったく嫌になるよ
Unfortunately, you have no time to complain, Kaito. I'm so fed up with all of this. Why does everything have to be such a pain? Why can't fate let me play games in peace? Yeah, you might want to take that up with the committee of 300. Oh, wait. Probably a bad idea. After internally ranting for a bit, I charge into the bathroom without hesitation. Well, at the very least, you could have just knocked. Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. Yes, he is. Frau. And the only thing I can say is, this is not a good sign. Definitely not a good sign. I'm hit with an immediate sense of regret. The first thing that occurs to me is that I've just laid eyes on a corpse for the first time in my life. Frau's skin is pale like that of a wax doll. She doesn't even look real. It's then that I realize I'm surprisingly calm. I walk up to the tub and turn off the faucet. She slit her wrists. They pushed her to the edge. Why would she want to kill herself? The answer to that question, Kaito Yashio, lies in the fake Twippo tweeps. Guilt for her crimes? Was she pushed to the edge after being framed by the Tavistock Institute?
コナちゃん。せめて安らかに。
I move to take the box cutter out of her hand. And it falls to the floor. She's still alive.
Huh?
Frau's eyelids open slightly. She looks towards me. There are tears in her eyes. She's definitely been crying. Then suddenly grips my wrist tightly.
Huh? Oi!
This is no time to be embarrassed, Kaito. I'm so shaken that I fall flat on my ass. The bathroom floor is wet and the cold sensation returns me to my senses.
コナちゃん生きてるの
Actually, I don't see any blood anywhere. Is it a failed suicide attempt?
大丈夫何やってんの
I hurriedly grab her by the shoulders and give her a shake. Her body is shockingly cold. It's enough to make me shiver. Frau's eyes remain half open. She's still gripping my wrist. A trickle of tears descends from the corners of her eyes.
コナちゃん
Indeed, it's all too much.
怪我される。
なんだって
れるから怪我されちゃう。
She feels the same way as Akio. Even more so since her mother is the director of the Gun Barrel anime.
ヤシオ先輩。
Her mother's disappearance, the leaked gun barrel footage, and now being framed for all of it. Not just the actions of the robots, but the leaking of the said footage. It's more than she can bear.
助けて。
And for the first time in a long time, we see past the facade of Frau Kojiro to the tragic, traumatized girl that is Kona Furugori. She barely manages to get those words out. She's not some super genius high school programmer girl that uses old net slang from a decade ago. She's just a lonely, weak girl crying for help from the bottom of her heart. Indeed she is. But at least she's alive. Now we have to resolve the situation, because things are only going to get much worse. Much worse from here on out. But of course, before we do any of that, back to the world of Twippo yet again. If Big Brother was able to choose my outfit, what would you like it to be? No matter what you answer, there will be no DLC added. Even if there was someone were to offer to pay for it, there still would be no additions, especially if they're sexual in nature. Didn't know you had downloadable content there, Sister Centipede, but okay. Tempting, but no. Maybe this one. How about a cat girl maid? Give it a chance. You do know you already... Oh wait, you deleted that app from my UO. You can just re-download it and put it on Irie. But anyway, back to... back to the matter at hand. Quick update. Kona-chan is okay and didn't do anything bad. And if Kaito vouches for her, which he is definitely doing, and he has every right to, then the other members of the Robotics Club will definitely believe that Frau is not the one behind the things that are going on. Nice job, Kai. Very nice job indeed. Thank God. Yes, indeed. Although we should probably not thank him just yet. Robots are rebelling. What's going on? It's like a movie. Not exactly. We're not dealing with Skynet or renegade artificial intelligences here, Nye. It's like we're in an anime, and in a negative way. This just makes robots look worse. Can we not stop it? If only it were that simple, Kenichiro. But putting a wrench in the Committee of 300's plans is easier said than done. Kagori is the one behind all this? What? No, Michi. No, she isn't. And shame on you for getting sucked into all that nonsense. No new updates there. Anything new from... no. No new things from Nightheart. And Frau is back to being conscious, albeit dressed in her usual casual attire. Although, that being said, she is slightly cleaner than she was, although I don't recommend bathing in cold water. Especially since it's winter. I'm wrapped up in a blanket. Frau is in her usual camisole and short shorts.
Fix!
Gesundheit. Probably get some cold medicine.
くしゃみしたいのは俺の方なんだけど。
させん。
ほら、飲みなよ。
I hand Frau a mugful of hot corn soup. She already had one, but she said she wanted a second, so I made some more. Frau obediently takes it and puts it up to her lips. Hot soup is good for a cold. Yeah, you better take a bit more care than that.
そりゃそうだ。
She already made the same mistake on the first cup. Maybe she just can't handle hot things. Maybe. I take a sip of my own soup. I can feel my body warming up from the inside. It's been about 1 hour since I discovered Frau in the bathroom. I ended up ditching afternoon classes. Well, it was an emergency, so why not? This shut-in actually filled her to her tub with the intention of slitting her wrists and dying. But since she hadn't eaten for several days, she had no strength, nor did she have the courage to actually do it. She still wants to find her mother, above all things. Sitting in the bathtub, hesitating, her body temperature dropped, leaving her incapable of exiting the tub on her own. She probably would have died if I hadn't stumbled across her. True that. It took a lot to drag her out of there, plus she was totally nude, so I didn't even know where to look. Fortunately, I'm pretty sure she did have a towel, maybe. Granted, in that situation, the last thing on my mind was Frau's body. Plus, she ain't got nothing on Nisan. Should probably keep that monologue to yourself, Kaito. That said, going forward, it might be a wee bit difficult to talk to her face to face after remembering this. You saved her life, Kaito. That's the only thing that matters right now. Anyway, I wiped Frau dry, wrapped her in some blankets, turned up the heat and made corn soup to warm her up. All of this hard work has paid off as the colour is returning to Frau's face. I had her put some clothes on earlier. Some dudes from the security company I called came after I took Frau out of the bathroom. Try explaining this to them. Probably shouldn't have called them, actually. My own clothes are currently drying. Frau offered to lend me a shirt, but our sizes are totally different. And, yeah, as well as, fashion as well. And so here I am, walking around her place wrapped up in a blanket.
で、そろそろ話してよ。
We have a lot to talk about, Frau.
コナちゃんのあのツイポでの発言は一体どういうことなのか。
Frau's still hanging her head. She's just staring into her mug of corn soup.
どっかのロボット OS を乗っ取ったって話、特に詳しく聞かせてほしいな。どうやら東京じゃロボットの反乱が本当に起きてるらしいけど。
Indeed there is, Kaito, but it has nothing to do with Frau, at least directly.
私じゃないし。はめられたんだわ、誰かに。ツイポのアカウント乗っ取られたっぽい。
乗っ取られた？ハッキングとかそういうの？
Genius programmer, Frau may be, but when it comes to security, that's not really her forte. I'm not exactly computer savvy, so I just tossed the idea out there.
わかんない。
Well, someone gained access to it. That's definitely for certain.
ウイルスとかそういうのチェックしたけどヒットしないし。
Whoever they were, they didn't need to use cheap methods.
なんでこんなこと。
Yeah. Unfortunately, Frau's health is still a bit hit and miss. Frau covers her mouth. She seems like she might throw up. All the pain, all the anxiety, and all the stress. I find it hard to believe that this young lady is a terrorist. Unfortunately, there are many people on Twipo that do believe that nonsense. At the very least, it doesn't look like she's lying to me. Still. A robot insurrection. The Kimijima reports were on the mark again. Terrorism taking advantage of the chaos caused by the arrival of a large-scale solar storm. Exactly as Ko said. It's exactly what's going on down in Tokyo.
ゲージね、いる？
When I call out to Irie, Sister Centipede promptly appears, but For some reason, she's facing the wrong direction.
どこ見てるの？
屋内なので、今のゲジネーはヤシオさんが見えていない状態です。
Yeah, still keep forgetting that rather unusual feature that Irie can only see people when they're outside for reasons. Ah, that's right. To be fair, it doesn't really matter to Irie or Sister Centipede if they can see inside of this room or not.
東京で起きてるロボットの反乱だけど、それに300人委員会が関わってるって情報は掴んでない。
Give us something, Sister Centipede.
情報は収集していますが、関東地方は停電によるオンラインユーザーの減少により、絶対的な情報量が平常時の 20% まで低下しています。
Which allows the committee ample opportunity to cover their tracks.
なお、収集した情報は未だ分析していないため、現段階ではヤシオさんの要求には返答できません。
Fortunately for Sister Centipede, being an AI means that she doesn't have to undergo the problems that Frau has unfortunately put herself through.
あ、そう。
But even so, she's probably going to have as much difficulty as Frau trying to collate truth from fiction. Good grief, she really is inflexible.
もういいよ、どっか行っちゃって。
失礼します。
Until next we meet, Sister Centipede.
とまあそんな感じなんだけど、コナちゃんはどこまで把握してる？
I think she knows as much as the rest of us, Kaito. Things are going nuts on the net right now, but I only know the general beats.
東京が停電した。まだ完全復旧してない。
You know that much?
それはさすがに俺も知ってるよ。復旧はいつになるかわからないってさ。
The fact that they don't know speaks to how serious the situation is. There are apparently some areas have, in fact, gotten power back already. Only places that have self-contained generators, though. Either way, the solar storm did a real number on things. People are currently pretty sympathetic toward the whole situation, but that won't last forever. It won't. With Tokyo effectively shut down, Japan's economy is all but dead. And then there's what Akio said this morning.
このままじゃ来年の万博が中止になっちゃうよ。
Cancelled. That would break Akio's heart. And all because of the Committee of 300's twisted schemes. Is that really what she should be concerned with right about now? You know her better than anyone, Kaito. That's just how Akio is. Right to the bitter end. But I do get it. For those of us living on Tanegashima, the things happening in Tokyo seem like a distant dream.
停電のことよりロボットの反乱っていうのを詳しく教えてよ。
RI 社ってのがあるわけだが。
RI？
Frau taps away at her PC keyboard and opens up what seems to be a robot company's homepage.
Laboratory Industry 社の略。
So they combined, yeah, robot and laboratory together to make laboratory. Yeah. How clever, how cute. Leading the next generation of service robots. One can only think of how what people like Doc Fujita thinks about all this. The last notification was a press release October 22nd, 2019. Monthly statistic report for robots.
RI 社は日本でのサービスロボのシェア3位な。
I wonder. Can't check the Pokecon just now. I was just going to double check because might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Robotics Industries is part of me is tempted to say that they're one of the companies that were listed in one of the Kimijima reports, but I can't be certain.
都市圏での売り上げが強いっぽい。RI 社のロボはリーチシリーズっていうわけだが、道案内機能に特化したサービスロボなのだぜ。
A design dedicated to the symbiosis between humans and robots, opening prospects in both work and daily life. A service robot focusing on extensibility. And of course, they're designed to be a little bit more human to make them friendlier, I guess, or seem friendlier and be accepted in community groups.
Hmm. 交番に配置されてるのは必ずこいつ。あと、街のあちこちを歩いてたりもする。
ああ、それなら俺もこの前東京に行った時に見た。
That would have been back during the Robo 1 finals. Now that was a long time ago. I spotted one from a distance when I was in Odaiba, but I didn't have the chance to talk to it. But when Michi brought us to our hotel in Akihabara on the second night, I sure saw a bunch strolling around. So we actually did take you to a hotel. We passed about 3 robots while walking down the street over a period of 5 minutes.
Soの RI 社のサーバーにあるロボット OS が乗っ取られたらしいよ。
That much is certain. I'm reading more of the sales hype. The appeal of the Reach series, able to coexist with humans, information sharing in real time, human-like voice recognition, easy to operate software, And what could possibly be 70-watt power supply? Introducing the features and basic specifications of the Reach series. Of course, given the current state of things, they might want to rethink their
ロ
sales
ボット
pitch.
OS を乗っ取ったら全部のロボットを自由にできるわけ？
In a nutshell, Kaito.
RI 社のロボット限定。他のメーカーのは無理ぽ。
でもその RI 社のロボって市販されてるんでしょ？一体あちこちバラバラな場所にいるってことだよね。サーバーを乗っ取ったからって全部のロボットに命令できるものなわけ？そもそもロボット OS って何？
Are you sure you don't know what an operating system is, Kaito? I think even you, of all people, would know what an OS is.
RI 社のリーチシリーズはクラウドコンピューティングで全ロボットのデータを統合してる。
Linking them all together.
あとはわかるな。
Being able to command them all.
いや、わからないって。クラウドってネットワーク上でデータを共有するっていうあれだっけ？
Frau nods. She then taps away at her keyboard again, this time bringing up a page that explains the Reach series.
リーチシリーズはその OS やこれによって何百何千っていうロボットが互いのデータを共有して最適化してる。リーチシリーズはその OS やメモリをネットワーク上に置いて常時オンライン状態。
So they're always connected. And the way that they're designed by RI, pretty much not quite a hive mentality, but close.
個体差はなくなるからロボットによって提供するサービスに差が出ることはない。
Apologies for the minor delay there. I just had something that I need to take care of, but anyway, let's continue.
リアルタイムでの情報共有ができるんで、道案内に特化したリーチシリーズにはベストなシステムらしい。
Keeping all of the robots synchronized makes them easier to control. Easier for not only laboratory, but also anyone other than them as well.
ロボそのもののバグもすぐに潰せるからメンテの人件費も安くなるし。
That takes care of the one of the many problems of having a uniform group of robots, because under normal circumstances with such an infrastructure, anything that could affect a single robot could essentially affect the entire collective as well.
でもセキュリティの面でずっと不安視されてたわけで。
And they were right to feel uneasy. If a single location manages all the data, just take control of that location and you have access to all of the robots. Centralization has its pros and its cons.
RI の中の人もサーバー止められないらしい。
So they've been locked out. Of course they have.
物理的に止めようにも、サーバールームの鍵は電子制御で、でもそのシステムは停電で停止してるから。
You would think that under normal circumstances with a blackout, access to the server room would be available, but if it has its own self-contained system, yeah.
サーバールームのシステムがダウンしてるなら、サーバーそのものもダウンするはずじゃ。
That question certainly crossed the mind.
サーバーは停電に備えて自家発電機能がある。3日は持つらしいってアットちゃんに書いてあった。
3 days, huh? If memory serves, you could run a place like Jurassic Park for 3 days on a dedicated power generator, but then again, look how that turned out. But I digress. I get it. 3 days is enough time for the robots to cause havoc. Too long.
んで、その乗っ取りをコナちゃんがやったことになってると。
Now we come back to the elephant in the room. The fact that Frau is the one being implicated in all of this is definitely a deliberate act.
でも、ツイポで私が犯人ですって言ったところで、そう簡単に信じてもらえる方がおかしいんじゃ。普通、狂言でしたで終わりでしょ。
Well, unfortunately, there was the fact of the multiple tweeps. It wasn't just one or two, it was several. But then again, having said that, remember what Ko Kimijima said about subliminal brainwashing? You don't need videos to do that, or just videos to do that. Social media works just as well.
ロボットが実際に暴走しているとしても、コナちゃんが何もしてないならすぐに疑いが晴れるんじゃ。
Maybe one or two people, Kaito. To give another movie reference, in the Men in Black film, the first one, Agent K's famous words, "A person is smart, people are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it."
そうでもない。
A lot of the social media users don't bother to verify the information that they're observing.
RI のサーバーは今外部からのアクセスができなくなってるけん。
Thanks to that program.
ハッカーの仕掛けた鍵のせいっぽい。
Even though, according to said person, as long as you're able to defeat the lock, you can get in easy enough.
鍵？
見ればわかる。
I think whatever game this perpetrator has designed is probably what lies at the heart of the matter. Frau taps on her keyboard and opens a certain page. I have a bad feeling about this. The source code is displayed, but I have no clue what any of it means. That's because we're only seeing the verbal code. But when we change the viewpoint, when we look at what this is supposed to be depicting, we might gain a better understanding, Kaito. And I don't like it.
ここがリーチシリーズのデータ満載のサーバー。ここまでは今誰でも入れるダダ漏れ状態。
So anyone can technically access the system.
鍵がかかってるんじゃなかったの？
But there is a caveat, obviously. I assumed there'd be at least a page asking for a password or something. But nope.
じゃあロボに強制的に命令できる OS 部分に入ってみるを。
Something is going to tell me that this is going to be easier said than done. Otherwise anyone could access the system, since it claims to be open. Frau taps the keyboard again, and then the monitor goes black. A moment later, something appears on screen.
キルバラ？
Fucking called it. Hate it when I'm right. But in this case, I was right. There had to be something more implicating Frau Kajiro. And what is Frau Kajiro famous for? Creating the gun barrel fighting game known as Kill Ballad. All you have to do is win a match and the system is yours. Now it should be obvious, Kaito, as to why Frau is so incredibly upset. They haven't just perverted her mother's work, but her own work as well. Frau's face goes pale again, and she places her hands on her mouth. The fact that her own handiwork is being used against her, of all things. She starts dry heaving over and over again. Deep breaths, Frau. Deep breaths.
誰かがここの鍵にキルバラを利用してやがる。
Indeed they did.
絶対に許さない。絶対にだ。
And Frau means it too.
流用ってキルバラをどう使ってるっていうわけ？
この鍵に使われてるキルバラは CPU 戦しかできなくなってる。
CPU battles. No PvP, unfortunately.
しかも対戦相手は必ず決まってる。
And I've played enough Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior to know that CPU AIs are very notorious at cheating the system.
私のアカウントを乗っ取った中の人が言うには、その CPU にワンマッチ勝てば鍵が解除されるっぽい。
So they say. On the one hand, we shouldn't really be taking them at face value. But on the other hand, with that said, we have no choice but to take them at their word. Alright. After hearing all of this, I can see how people suspect Frau. Especially after her tweets.
こいつを仕掛けたどっかのクソのせいで。
Tarnishing your memories.
このせいで 頑張れるが怪我される。私、幸次郎フラウのこととか、私の作ったキルバラのこととかは、別にどれだけバカにされてもいいけど。
And yet you modeled Kelballad after Gunvarl for a reason. That reason is your own mother.
頑張れるとママのことを関連づけて悪く言うのは許せない。
Frau's shoulders sadly slumped down. Her eyes are wet. Frau's the type to clown around, using all kinds of old slang, so I've never seen her so despondent before. Now you have, Kaito. Now you have.
ママの残した頑張れるをこれ以上怪我されたくない。なのに私ママと利用されて。
Indeed, you dropped the ball, but it's not your fault.
どうしたら。
Well, fortunately, you have the world's ranked number 2 Kill Ballad player in your corner, standing right next to you. After Frau announced herself to the world, she had everything about her looked into and spread on the net. Kona Furugori's real name, photos, her relationship to Gunvarl's director, Minami Kagori, all of it. Doxing is a serious offense. Don't do it. Minami Kagori's hidden message had only just been unearthed, and so this had added fuel to the fire, and so... People theorized that Minami Kagori was the true mastermind, and her message was an advance notice of her evil deeds, rather than a warning. Considering how knee-deep in conspiracy theory BS I am, if I didn't know Frau, I very well might have just been like them. Actually, you probably wouldn't have cared either way, knowing you, Kaito. But we do know about Frau, and Minami, and Koki Mijima. We're better informed than anyone. I gently rub Frau's back as she cries. Well, she needs all the moral support we can give her. I'm not really doing it to console her or anything, of course not. I just don't know what to say to her. But...
ワンマッチ勝てばいいわけでしょ。
Indeed, just one match. No shenanigans like with Subaru way back when.
しかも相手は CPU とか。笑えてくるよ、マジで。
No biggie, unless the CPU is set to the highest difficulty and is perfectly capable of doing moves in less frames than it takes a human player to do. Sure, no problem.
こんなのむしろ楽勝じゃないの。今までクリアしたやつがいない方がおかしいね。
Very surprised indeed. Also suspicious. Frau knows how good I am. Hell, I'm the second best in the whole damn world. I'm one step away from the top. Technicalities aside. And yet she didn't even try to ask me for help, instead choosing to end her in it's way too soon to give up. Well, aren't you the optimist, Kaito?
そのゲーム乗ってやるよ。
And then again, we need that optimism, now more than ever. Don't get me wrong, I'm not underestimating my opponent, but at the end of the day, they're just a CPU. So you say. Once I figure out its patterns, it'll be easier to handle than an actual person. And then it pulls an instant standing flash kick out of nowhere and just owns you.
キルバラで勝てばいいって言うなら俺向きだ。
ヤシオ先輩。
Frau stares at me, her eyes wide open. She then begins to cry again. She grasps onto me. You have one person on your side, and more besides.
ちょっと。
先輩、よろしく。
An honest plea from the heart.
勝ったら鎖骨ペロペロしてあげるので。
She must be feeling better.
そりゃどうも。
I'll take a hard pass on that. Anyway, let's get this party started. I paste the URL into my Pokémon browser and head straight for the locked page. Kill Ballad immediately boots up, sorry. It's familiar music. The label is apparently Takaso Noble 2019. A name we do not recognize. Then again, given that it's a CPU, geez, straight to the pre-battle menu too. Yep. No breaks, we're just going for it. Visually it's no different from regular K-Bank World since it's recreated using the code, obviously. And as always I go with gun barrel. I don't know for that Shoto. Sorry, that Shoto. Never mind. Never mind. It's like slip of the tongue there. My opponent is Schneider, a long-range character that specializes in sniping. I think we fought Schneider before, a long time ago. This bastard gave me a hell of a time during our cheetah hunt. Was it number 3 or number 2? I wonder. It's then that I'm hit with deja vu.
これ、相手は CPU なのになんでアカウントが表示されてるんだ？
Curious, isn't it?
それは初耳だわ。
Actually, now that I think about it, this is more than just deja vu. This is an amalgamation of the deceased first 3 ranked players. Their names have been co-joined together. And there's the name itself. Kaito has seen what I've just seen. Huh. It's not particularly strange. Well, ominously strange. But Even though the match is about to begin, I can't take my eyes off the CPU's account name. Takasono... Yeah, Takasono Blee 2019. That's the account name attached to the CPU. That's with the deja vu. You should recognize the significance, Kaito. Have I fought this thing before? Probably. That can't be. They're a CPU. Remember the #1 ranked player beforehand? Remember how it seemed like they were a CPU? Yeah. Have I seen it somewhere? I have. Why is the name so familiar? The light bulb in my head turns on.
チーターの名前だ。
Well, not the actual people, because those people were tragically murdered in their own homes, no less. But I think we found our imposters, or rather, impostor.
タカの愛と花園とパブリ。
Indeed. The original top 3 ranked players of Killbound. And it was, yeah, Takanowai that was infamously reputed to be a CPU.
チーター3人の名前が全部含まれてる。
That's no coincidence.
なんだと。
Could the person who took over the RI company service have something to do with the 3 dead cheaters? They didn't cheat, but this, whoever they are, this individual definitely cheated, and is cheating right now. Or did they just cobble this account name together based off the 3 players who were on top for so long? No, too much of a coincidence for this just to be a random event, Kaito. I don't know, but it's unsettling either way.
楽勝だと思ったらそうでもないかもね。
Indeed, I think we counted our chickens a bit too early there. Nonetheless, despite all the attention this thing is gathering, not a single person has beaten it. Is this the reason why? Well, anyway, we're going for it. Heaven or Hell, Duel 1, let's rock. Guilty Gear style. Away he goes. Gonna need all the concentration. All the concentration I can muster. As soon as the match begins, I get my answer. I think it's safe to say we, don't think we got it the first time. Yep, beaten right off the bat. God damn it. Yeah, figured it wasn't going to be that easy. Figured it wasn't going to be that easy. Game over, man. Game over. What an absolute one-sided slaughter. Highest difficulty indeed. It was over before it even started. Me of all people. Second best in the world, and I didn't stand a goddamn chance.
Senpai.
Yeah, we just got our shit wrecked. We got absolutely destroyed.
乾杯だったよ。
Hmm. Yeah, overconfidence is a fatal weakness.
こんな無茶苦茶な調整するなんてゲームとして破綻してる。なんなのあれ。
Yeah, this game is rigged. Hence, why we can't just waltz right into the RI server.
ふざけんな
But Kaito's not interested in that. As ever, he only ever cares about one thing when it comes to the world of Kill Ballad.
これ普通にやって勝てるやつは多分世界中に誰もいないよ。
I think with practice, there might be. Even Tajiri probably couldn't. Speaking of which, whoever set up this lock put an absurd CPU together to prevent anyone from getting in.
しかもただの CPU じゃない。
You think Kaito? Was it that obvious?
戦っててチーター狩りを思い出した。
All three combined. It's not just the name aesthetic.
つまりどういうことだってばよ。
It's like fighting all three of them at once.
CPU のアカウント名が例のチーター3人の名前を合体させたようなものだって言ったでしょ。先方もさ、その3人の戦い方を全部持ち合わせてるような感じだったんだ。
May have fought and beaten the three of them, technically we didn't fight them per se, but we were able to fight the AI on 3 different counts separately, but fighting it simultaneously is another matter. The way it's able to snipe me at range with pinpoint accuracy even between the buildings. The way it's able to counter my close range attacks with superhuman speed on a character that's disadvantageous at that range. And then there's the awful lag attacks that Hanasono utilized. It's almost like the 3 cheaters have possessed this thing. It's both kind of nostalgic and disgusting all at once.
感覚で分かったよ。この CPU はあのチーター3人と同じだってね。
Again, this thing is impersonated those cheaters, but I digress.
逆に言えばあのチーター3人の方も CPU だったかもっていう気がする。
Finally starting to put those brain cells to use, eh, Kaito?
本人は何ヶ月も前に死んでたけど、オンライン上での連中のキャラはあくまで CPU だからなおも対戦を続けてられた。
Because like Frau Kajiro, their identities were taken as well.
だったらチート解析ツールにそう結果が出たはず。
No ordinary cheat codes. These people know what they're doing.
結局どうなったのか聞いてなかったけど、チーター連中が死んでたって話、その後どうなったわけ？
A bit late now, but excellent question.
続報はなし。
No new details.
警察も真面目に取り合ってくれないって 中々安政が言ってた。
Yeah, that's totally not suspicious. The authorities are keeping a lid on it. I can guess who's putting the pressure on.
チーターを装って連中のアカウントを使ってたやつと今回の RI 社のサーバー乗っ取り犯は同一人物かもしれない。
I think it's more than just a possibility, Kaito.
きっとキルバラのことをかなり詳しく知ってるやつだ。
Better than even Kilballad's own creator.
ま、そっちのことは別にどうでもいいけどね。
Again, of course not. I wouldn't.
先輩、それはツンデレのつもりですか？
No, that's just Kaito being Kaito, as always.
いや、本当にどうでもいい。
This is Frau's problem. It's not something I can solve or fix.
でもさ、キルバラに関しちゃ全一を目指す人間として負けたままじゃいられないんだよね。
One-track mind, as usual.
先輩、
ちょっと本気でこの高ソブってやつと勝負していいかな、コナちゃん。
高ソブ？
Takasono Beeley, 2019. I cut it down to Takason. Oh, and it's apparently totally fine to challenge Takasob over and over again. Overconfidence cuts both ways. There's no penalty for losing. Bastard sure seems confident in their little creation. I can feel myself getting annoyed. More reason not to lose. Can't afford to.
こいつの目的が何なのか知らないけど、あんまり俺を怒らせると痛い目を見るって思い知らせてあげないとね。
If you think I can be defeated with some CPU, you better think again, even though we were already defeated once. This is interesting. Exoskeleton development. Misaki Sonomiya, 5:08 p.m. on the same day. Well, I think this transition is a good place to end this episode of Let's Play Robotics Notes Lead. So when we return, adventurers, we finally get a glimpse into Misaki's activities during the Tokyo blackouts and the solar storm activity. As always, until next we meet.